A historic and controversial decision. Americans feeling a wide range of emotions following the Supreme Court's decision to overturn Roe v. Wade, ending the nation's constitutional protections for abortion. Thousands of anti-abortion and abortion rights protesters spending the day outside of the Supreme Court. Good evening, welcome. I'm Katie Nordeen.
And I'm Neil McNeil. The decision ends protections that were put in place nearly 50 years ago. Just to be clear, this decision does not change anything here in North Carolina right now. Abortions are staying in place, at least for the time being. More on that in just a few seconds.
But there are 13 states where this ban will take effect immediately, meaning abortions are now considered illegal. All right, here they are. This includes Idaho, Wyoming, Utah, North Dakota, and South Dakota.
The list also includes Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Tennessee, Missouri, and Kentucky. And 26 states have laws indicating they plan to ban abortions.
North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper released this statement shortly after the decision came out, saying for 50 years, women have relied on their constitutional right to make their own medical decisions, but today that right has been tragically ripped away. That means it is now up to the states to determine whether women get productive health care, and in North Carolina, they still can. I will continue to trust women to make their own medical decisions as we fight to keep politicians out of the doctor's exam rooms.
And the governor of Virginia, Glenn Youngkin, you see there on the left, he is a Republican. He says he plans to take every action to protect life. Spokesperson with his office says Youngkin wants to put a 15-week abortion ban in place in the state of Virginia after today's ruling, and he's willing to compromise with a 20-week ban. He has asked Republicans in the Virginia General Assembly to start writing the legislation. The governor says he is pro-life but supports exceptions in cases of rape, incest, and if a mother's life is in danger. Keep in mind there are some states, though, where abortion will be banned without some or all of those exceptions. Well, President Biden spoke a few hours after the decision was announced.
It's a sad day for the court and for the country. 50 years ago, Roe v. Wade was decided and has been the law of the land since then. This landmark case protected women's right to choose.
He went on to say he was stunned by the decision. He also called it a tragic error by the Supreme Court, saying the court has done what it's never done before. It's expressly taken away a constitutional right that is so fundamental to so many Americans. The president said he hopes this ruling will encourage voters to head to the polls in the midterm elections in November. We said a moment ago this decision doesn't change the law here in North Carolina right now, but that doesn't mean it won't change over the next year or so.
Our senior political reporter Bob Buckley has been speaking to legislators at both the state and federal level to see what will change and when.
Well, it looks like the earliest things are likely to change is sometime next year. The Republicans who control the General Assembly have made it clear they will move to further restrict abortions in North Carolina, but it seems they're waiting until the time is right. Speaker Tim Moore said today that the current legislative session does not afford sufficient time to take up the issue, but that people can rest assured that the legislature won't ease current restrictions on abortion and will likely increase them next year. Guilford County Democratic Representative Pricey Harrison can't quite believe we've even gotten here.
It's stunning. I mean, it's not unexpected, but it looks to be the first time the Supreme Court has ever taken away a constitutional right, and especially one that's so popular. It's popular with 80% of the American public.
It was a victory for North Carolina Republican State Senator Joyce Kravic.
These are our most vulnerable citizens. Times have changed a lot since 1973. We now have ultrasounds. We see those babies. We know what they look like. We know they're not just a mass of tissue. After just a few weeks, it looks like a real baby.
A lot of North Carolinians feel abortion will be completely outlawed in this state sometime next year. Is that accurate?
The court is just saying it was wrongly decided. It should have always been a decision for the states and for the elected representatives to make, and not the court. There are going to be some states that are going to be more restrictive than others. Some are going to be very liberal, where you can still have an abortion probably up until birth, I'm guessing. So, it's not going away. It's definitely not going away.
Although the decision largely takes the federal government out of the equation, North Carolina Senator Thom Tillis called the ruling historic and monumental and that he will continue his work to eliminate procedures he calls horrendous, like partial birth abortion. Fellow Republican Ted Budd called it an historic victory for people who consider every life precious and reiterated his support for the pro-life movement. His Democratic opponent in November's election, Sherry Beasley,
the Senate really must take and feel a sense of urgency around here. The risk to lives of women, just like we saw before Roe versus Wade was decided, is exactly where we're headed, and then some.
For now, though, political scientist Chris Cooper says keep an eye on Raleigh.
The key to this whole thing is Governor Roy Cooper's veto. As long as he's got that veto, as long as the Republicans don't have a supermajority, it's going to remain pretty constant. I think then the key to understanding North Carolina is going to be the influx of people wanting abortions from our neighboring states like South Carolina.
But things may move faster than some people think. Earlier today, Senate Leader Phil Berger sent a letter to Attorney General Josh Stein insisting that Stein work to reinstate the law on abortion in North Carolina to what it was when Roe was decided in 1973. At that time, abortions were not allowed after the 20th week of pregnancy. Now, if Stein refuses to act on the request, Berger is likely to use another Supreme Court decision from this week to allow the legislature to do it. Just yesterday, the court voted 8-1 to allow the legislature in North Carolina to act in place of the Attorney General to defend the state's voter ID law. Berger and Speaker Tim Moore claim that Josh Stein refused to defend the law properly since he disagreed with it.